Hey guys, this is Kevin at ChristianPhotoshops.com, and today we're going to be doing a brand new Photoshop tutorial, and I'm going to show you how I created this picture right here. So this is a very popular picture I created. It features a picture of our daughter, and she is pulling an elephant through a field. And it was just a really fun project to do, and a lot of people have asked how I created it, and so I wanted to kind of show you layer by layer. We're not gonna build it from scratch per se. What I'm gonna do is break the image down, and I'm just gonna click all these layers off, and then we're gonna build it back up. I'm gonna show you each step, each layer, each effect, how I made the picture. Now, unfortunately for this picture, I do not have the source files available. I'm trying to be careful about putting pictures of our daughter online for free for everyone to download in Photoshop. So we don't put pictures of our daughter on there. But you're welcome to take pictures of yourself or your kids or whatever and try these effects. But we just don't have the pictures for this one available. But let me go and show you what we did have. So this is my daughter, and she is just I knew what we were going to do from the start. So what I did was we got a rope for her and just let her walk in the backyard, pulling the rope. And she had no idea what was going on. She didn't know what I was doing, but she had the time of her life just pulling a rope through the yard. And then I got this picture, and then I cut her out of this. And so I had a picture of her isolated. And then I also had a picture of the elephant. This is from the North Carolina Zoo. So I got a picture of the elephant and cut him out too. And the background is just some random grass fields that I've taken in the past. And I'll show you all of those step by step how I included all of these. So here's the final image. But let's go ahead and take all of these images, all of these adjustments, and let's just go ahead and make all of them invisible. And then what we'll do is we'll build everything back up, and you'll see exactly how to do it. Okay. These two, this one, and this one. Okay, so here is our very first layer I've got. This is just a picture that I took in the mountains. I think it was in Virginia at sunset. So I just got down real low in the weeds and the grass and took a picture. And every picture I take, I save and use it for a rainy day. So I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I took this picture and saved it. And this is what we're going to use today. And then I wanted to change the color of the sky. I didn't really like the blue and the sunset, and it just didn't look right. So what I did was I added this layer. This is just let me show you the original layer. This is just a sunset picture that I took another day in the mountains. And so all I did was I changed the blend mode to multiply, and I added a layer mask, so the bottom part is clipped out or is erased. And then since it's a multiply works best if everything below it is light. So I just painted that top part white and then multiplied it. Now I've got a brand new grass scene with a different sky. So that's our background. So it's a little bit too contrasty. I wanted to have some depth to the picture, so I added some haze. And all I do for haze is I just take a big brush, a big soft brush, and I just paint. So I just painted some light pinks here. I think I sampled from the sky actually. So I got the color from the sky and just painted some light colors there. Then I painted some more, then I painted some more, and then I painted some more. So all of this is just taking a brush, doing a low flow or low opacity, and just painting some light colors that are very similar to the sky. So this is what it looks like before and after I added the haze. And then I added just a little bit more haze right in here. And you'll see why later, but there's some big haze and then there's some little haze. So lots of haze in the picture, and that'll create a little bit of depth when we add the subjects. Okay, so the next thing I did was I added the elephant. So here is the elephant, just straight out of the camera, cut him out, put him right here in the scene. The very first thing I did was he was much too bright. Since the sun is in the background, the elephant would be more silhouetted, so I needed to make him a lot darker. So I did a levels adjustment, just like that. And so all I did was, in your levels adjustment, you see right here, if you take your whites on the bottom and you just drag them to the left, it makes it a lot darker without adding too much contrast. So that's all I did, was I just made him a lot darker. So there's the original, there's the darker. And then, since he is backlit, the sun is in the background, the edges that go around the elephant would have, light colors on it, because the sun would be coming straight that way. So what I did was I created a layer mask, and all I did was just erase part of that levels adjustment, and I just erased right on the edge. So I took a really small brush and just kind of erased on the edges. So here's what's before and after. You can see just the edge is just a little bit brighter. And then I did a little bit more. What I did was I made a show you. I just took another brush, and then I just drew white on top of the elephant right there, and then I clipped it to it and changed it to overlay. So that added just a little bit more of the light coming from the sun. So there's before and after. So just a little bit more detail, adding those white highlights. Okay. And then also, since the elephant's standing in grass, it looks like he's kind of floating over the grass. What I did was I added a layer mask where his feet were, and I kind of cut out some little spots of his feet, and you can see it right there. So it's not perfect, but it's a good start. And so I just erased part of his feet so he fits in the grass a little bit better. Okay, we'll come back to the shadow. Next we added Abigail, our daughter, and so what I did is I cut her out, and then I just put her straight in the scene right there. And you can see, if you zoom in, you can see her feet are kind of in the grass, and that's because when I took a picture of her, she was in the grass. So, and that's fine because her feet are going to be covered up. And then actually I didn't do a very good job here, but what I would do is you would want to zoom in and see where her feet are in the grass. You would want to kind of erase a little bit of that. There we go. So it blends in a little bit better. And we'll clean it up later, but that's a good start, just to erase her feet there. Now, here's the problem. Here's the original picture. She's got a rope, and it's a very short rope. It's only just a couple feet, so we need it to go all the way back to the elephant. And so what I did was, I just cut out this rope, and then I duplicated it. See there, all I did was pretty much duplicated it and rotated it. And then, so I just added it there. So all I did was just double the length of the rope. And then I took the rope, another piece of the rope, and I just turned it in a circle, just like that, and I put it around the trunk of the elephant. And you can do that with the puppet warp. So that's all I did, was I just copied the rope, then duplicated it, and then copied it again, and then just turned it into a circle. So that's all I did to create the leash right here. All right, now that I got both the elephant and our daughter in the picture, I added a shadow. So right here, all I did was just take a gray color and just painted right underneath. This layer goes underneath all of your subjects. So I painted the shadow right underneath the rope, underneath the feet, underneath the trunk, and so on. So I put that shadow under there, and I changed the blend mode to darken, but you could also do multiply. It just depends whatever looks better. Okay, so there we go. We got the elephant and Abigail, and we got the rope, and we got the shadow. And let's go to the next spot. Okay, the next thing is, this is a little bit trickier. So what I want to do is, if you look at the elephant and you look at Abigail and everything, you see that the grass, there's there should be a bunch of grass blades up in the front of the elephant. It just doesn't look natural. It looks like they're just kind of floating on there, even with the shadows. It doesn't look right. There should be grass blades that are coming, that are, you know, closer to the camera, that would actually block part of the view of the feet. So this is how I did it. What I did was I went ahead and made I made all of the subjects layers, I made them disappear. So now I just got that background again that we started with. And then I created a new layer on top of all of the background layers that we made. And then I just applied the image there. So you can do Control, Alt, Shift, and the letter E, Control, Alt, Shift, E. And what that does is it stamps the layer that you've created onto a new layer. So everything that you've created is now in a brand new layer. Now, I couldn't do that with all of them in here because if I did a stamp, it would include them. So what I did was I brought that new stamp layer that I created and I put it above them. So see, now they're invisible because they're being hidden by that new stamp layer. And then what I did was I wanted to bring out the grass in them. So what I did was let me show you what I did first. What I did was I made it invisible for that stamp layer, and then everywhere you paint white, it'll come back. So if I wanted to paint grass, like right here, I'm just doing a really sloppy job to show you what would happen. So I'm painting back that original layer. Does that make sense? So you can paint back that original layer and it looks like grass coming through. Now that's a pretty sloppy job. I actually did a little bit better job with this one right here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, you can see it right here. So I added some grass layers here, and all I did was just take a really light flow on the brush and just painted white, just like that. And that way it looks like there's grass layers in between the camera and the elephant, and so it blends in a lot nicer. Okay, so that looks good right there. Don't like that. Okay, right there, that looks fine. I had to get rid of another layer, but that's fine. Okay, so then on top of all of these layers, you could actually leave it, you could finish it up like this if you're happy with that. But I want to blend all the colors together, make them look a little bit more accurate. So I added some glowing haze on top of these. This will be on top of everything. So the first thing I did is just added some white right in here, some light color that goes, I'm going to put the sun here eventually, so the sun's going to go right in here. So I just added some white glows. Then I added some more, some orange glows and changed it to screen. Then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a lot more. So, and then I changed this one to overlay. So just painting a lot of different glows and stuff. And what that does is it kind of harmonizes all of the layers. It makes them all kind of the similar color, and similar light is hitting the same objects in the picture. So that's what I did there. So that's my glowing haze folder. So this is before and after. And this is all just painted with a brush. It's not using any type of pictures or photography. It's just painting it with a brush. Okay. Then I wanted to add a sun layer. So I've got this. I got this picture of the sun. And this was taken at sunset in the mountains. And it's just a big old ball of fire in the sky. And so what I did was I changed that to overlay, and so I got my sun right there. Now the overlay was way too much because it was doing too much stuff to the picture. So I created a layer mask, and then let's get that layer mask back. There we go. Created a layer mask, and I only masked in the parts near the sun. So just that part. I didn't want to do all the other clouds and the mountains and stuff like that. So just that part right there. So there's our ball of sun right there in the background, which makes sense for our elephant being backlit. And also, go back to the picture of Abigail. I took this, you can't see it, but the sun is right back here somewhere, and it's shining this way. And so you can see that she's got like highlights on the back of her hair and the back of her arm and the back of her legs. So I purposely made sure that the sun was behind her when I did this. That way it looks like she's backlit. Okay, so there's the sun layer. And then the picture looks fine the way it is now, but I did some color adjustments just to kind of harmonize everything a little bit more. So let me show you what those were. First thing I did was a gradient map, and I did blue and yellow and changed that to overlay. So that you're going to see very minimal adjustments with all these layers, but I'll show you before and after. And then I did a levels adjustment, made it a little bit darker, a little bit more contrast. So that's before and after with the levels adjustment, just a little bit more contrast. And then I did a kind of a vignette. The edges were a little bit too bright, so I wanted to darken the edges a little bit. So I just darkened the edges using the level adjustment. That's before and after. Then I used a gradient map, very similar, blue and yellow. You can hardly tell the difference, but just a little bit more color into the picture. And then I did a color adjustment layer, a gradient map, but I did the blend mode to color. And this kind of dulled the colors a little bit to more of that sepia type color. And then I did a lighten layer. So what the lighten does, so I did a layer, a gradient map that's it's the brown to a light grayish brown color. And what that does is when you change the blend mode to lighten, everywhere that's darker than that gray, it will change it to light. So if I did it like this, you can see the bottom where it's all black. It changes it more to that. See, this is the black. This is the original. It's kind of black and dark at the bottom. And then if you do this lighten layer, it makes those colors not quite a solid black. And that's because sometimes the solid black in the image just looks too harsh on the eyes. And so what I do is I want to bring those blacks down so they're not a pure black, they're more like a dark gray. And then finally I did a selective color adjustment layer, and we just brought we changed our reds a little bit. We brought some blue in the reds, and we took out some of the cyan in the color, so you can see it's a little bit warmer with that cyan being taken out. So those are some adjustments I did, and here let me show you before and after of all of those adjustment layers for the color. So if you did that, so there's before and there's after. And this is just personal preference, what you think looks better. I like this color setup better than this one, but it's whatever you like, whatever you think looks better. But that's what I did. So this is the image I created. We went step by step on how to do that. So let's go real quick through what we did. So we did the background, and then we did some haze. And we did that, but I'm going to leave that out right now. So we did the background, we did haze, we did the elephant, we did Abigail, we did the rope, we did the shadow, we did the stamp layer to add more grass. So that added the grass to the front of the picture. Then we added some haze, and then we added the sun, and then we added some colors. So there you go, guys. That is how I created this picture, and I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Go and try your own similar surreal picture like this. They're a lot of fun to do. They're not really that hard, but they're really fun to do, and I wish you luck. And if you do any pictures, please share them with me. Post them on the Facebook page or email them to me. I'd love to see them. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to watch this tutorial, and we got many more coming up, so check back soon. Appreciate it, guys.